have seen it fit to have a common class this day. As we do it, Lord, prayer and desire is, Lord, may you lead us and take charge of this Bible study. Use the panelists that you have seen it fit to lead us today, is our prayer in Jesus' holy name. Amen.
So welcome to this Sabbath morning lesson discussion, and allow me to have a preview of the whole lesson so that we can have open discussion, since it is a discussion, and we have 30 minutes for this discussion. And as it is always a routine, it's good to recap and see what did we start last week. And I want to connect last week and this week, then give the key highlights so that we can open for the panelists to input in the discussion, as well as the members in the class. It was God is covenant with us last week, and there are so many covenants God has had with us. We have a bilateral and a unilateral. That's what we are learning. Bilateral between you and God, me and God, and unilateral where God says it. You don't have to do anything, but is the one pronouncing blessings to all human beings, or all of us. And there was a case of, the rain comes for the evil and the good, and he says that will happen. And God said there would never be again destruction of this world by fire. He made that promise, by flood, after the destruction during Noah's time. And during the week, the key text then it was, obeying God's commandments and listening to his voice. If we do, there are blessings that come because of that. And this week, there is a continuation. I think it was on the day, Wednesday or Thursday, tight contract, which connects now. This week is a whole expansion about the tithing contract. And our key text has been read from the book of Malachi 3:10. And I'm not repeating about it. Bring all the tithes in the storehouse, and that's what has been given so that there is be plenty in the storehouse for his work to continue. And also because of the God's work continuing, then the blessings will be poured unto us. And there was a question last week: do we tithe to get blessings, or we already have been blessed and we are taking back what God has blessed us with? So in view of this discussion of Malachi 3:10, we talks about the contract. And the contract, when we have a contractual obligation between two parties, it means there are conditions that must be fulfilled. There will be general conditions, and there are specific conditions in the contract agreement. And the tithing contract specified in Malachi 3:10, God proposed a contract with people: bring me the tithes and I will bless you. In this contract for the people of Israel, the question, was this contract for the people of Israel only? Was it a contract with the people of Israel? I want to hear your voice, to know whether, then we say, that's an old thing. God entered with the people of Israel, and it does not apply today. Was the contract only for the Israelites? No. The contract applied in that time, and it continues now, and even the future generations. So, and therefore, as Christians are not excluded from the benefits of that contract, and therefore, if we obey and truly hear the God's voice and follow his commandments, and especially the specific one on the tithing contract, then the blessings that have been mentioned that we'll get, there is no limit of those blessings. The windows will be opened, and you will have plenty beyond your imagination. And so as we look at this week, specific focus will be, what is the tithe? You know, what is this a tenth of all our possessions? And then most of the times, there's the discussion again in this week. Is it of my gross? Is it of my net gains? What is it? And therefore people start the debating. And you know, as human beings, you want to give. When you are giving, you want to give less. So if you are giving, you will say, no, let me give out of my net. But when you want to receive, you want to get more. You know, that's the nature of human beings. But God says, of all your earnings, of all your blessings, of all your possessions, a tenth of it belongs to me. So that's a contract. And you can give much more in terms of other offerings on how you have been blessed. So how should it be given is a discussion we'll have. How should it be used? What must be tithed? And finally, we'll also be looking at faithful tithing. Have we been faithful with our tithes? And as we look through the discussion of this week, I want to open to other panelists to give contributions at the specific days or generally before we open.
I know tithing is not a new thing, and then it's touchy, and sometimes it touches all of us. The question that there are questions that he has already mentioned. What is to be tithed? What are we? What is a tenth? What is our income? And then, of course, there's what that the lesson was talking about so clearly. What is the purpose of that? The tithing contract. What are we giving? A tenth of your income. Is it only income? That is a question we should ask. Probably we would be saying, okay, I was given some property, I received some property, I inherited some property. Should I tithe on the same? Or should we just say, okay, let me look at my salary. I have a close salary of 10,000. I give a tenth of that, then I'm done. I think that is a question that the class will devolve into as we open up for discussion. The question that lingered in my head when I was going through the lesson was, have I been faithful? And that is on the practicality of the matter. Have I been faithful? Whether on my income or on everything that I own. Then I found myself looking at how do I do it? That took me back to what I used to see in the village, my grandmother and my mother. During harvest, they will make sure before they do anything. And actually sometimes I find myself, I've earned my salary, I've paid some bills before I would take what belongs to God. Then on Sabbath is when I'm remembering I'm supposed to tithe. That is my personal. I don't know what happens with you, but those Wazes were very keen about how they do it. How you do it is also equally important. And actually it was here. That before you do anything, first take out what belongs to God. Actually, that is the lesson I picked. And then I related. Because sometimes during harvest we would bring as we bring, we are counting as we put aside. I don't know whether you witnessed this. I saw my grandmother do that so faithfully. Akileta ya Mungu inawekwa kando. Si eti analeta anaweka pamoja, then later anaanza kusort. Actually, they used to count that way. I don't know. That is the principle behind the tithing. So I want to just go to the last day, not the last day, actually Thursday, and say an honest and faithful tithe. The lesson writer is giving us like 3 things. The amount which is a tenth or 10% of our income or increase. Income or increase. Wow. What is the difference between the income and increase? Somebody to help me. I know income, I've already mentioned it here. What is the increase? Yes? Yeah.
is those who are salaried, who are on the payroll. And an increase is those who are doing business.
Yes, that those who are doing business. You are in business and you put in capital and it increased. So whatever has increased is what you tithe. Then there's something I want to talk about. Taken to the storehouse. Where do you take this? I was on social media the other day. And there's I don't know whether you read a story or you heard of a story of a lady who gave her tenants, a reprieve in January. And then at some point, she said, I no longer give my money or whatever I earn to the church. I give it to the needy. I don't know whether you saw that. So, and I know some of us, Seventh Adventists of today, could be tempted to think the same. To me, that is not where the purpose of God is. Take it to the stores. The only reason she was giving is, oh, I take it there, they steal it, they do. That is not your business. Your business is to give what is honest and faithful. And the other thing that came to me, honoring God with the first part of the income. Honoring God with the first part of the income. It was interesting to me. And that is why I brought that analogy of what I saw being done. Remember the story of Cain and Abel. So what are we giving? So let us look at keenly what we give. Then the final word I will want to say, used for the purpose, the right purpose, the support of the ministry. So when you bring that money here, it is not your business wanting to know what happens. If there is somebody who is squandering church money, that is not your business to punish. You give it. You know you've given it for the right purpose. I want to just stop there. I don't know. I just walked through the lesson, and I was just going generally to see so that we have enough time so that people can also react from it.
Happy Sabbath.
Happy day.
Happy day.
Happy Sabbath.
He has walked through the lesson, and that means I have very little to say. But what I'm going to say, I hope it is in line with what I learned throughout the week. The lesson is talking about tithing, and we've realized what tithe is, a tenth of your income or your increase. They have talked about the storehouse where we are supposed to take the tithe, and they have mentioned that it should be used to enable the work of spreading the gospel. That is what tithe is all about. What I wanted to add is that in all these, we need faith. That is why we are asked to be faithful servants, to be faithful with our tithes. And what about faith? What is faith? To believe in God, that He is the provider of everything. There was a story of the widow of Zarephath and Elijah. And when Elijah tells her to go prepare a meal for him, she tells Elijah that she has very little that is only meant for her and the son. But what does Elijah tell her? Elijah says, it is okay, don't be worried. What you do, just do as I have said. What we are required to do is to do as the Lord has said. If it is a tenth that the Lord has asked us to give, please let's give that tenth in faith that God is the provider. Number two, if God has directed us to take the tithe into the storehouse, Let's not start debating that, we take it there and we do not see anything that is it is used for, and so it is wise for me to take it and give it to someone who is needy. You can give someone who is needy some other amount, but a tenth is meant for God, and it is supposed to be taken to where He has directed us to take it to. So let's have that heart of doing what God has said without asking questions, and that is what faith is all about. So, as we were mentioning about the gross and the net, it is explained that you give tithe on the increase or your income. So if I have a gross salary of 100 shillings, out of that 100 shillings is where I should get the 10%. Let me not talk about how, I have, there is a deduction of 2 shillings for tax, there is a deduction of 1 shilling for maybe NHIF, NSSF, so I remain with 5 shillings, and from the 5 shillings, that is where I get the 10%. No, what you earned was 100 shillings, and out of that 100 shillings, that is where we get 10%. Now, if you are doing business, you know your capital and you know your sales, the cost of sales. So after you've sold all the goods that you had bought, you know the amount of money you've got on top of what you've used. Now, that one could be challenging because maybe you use 10 shillings to buy water somewhere, but then we know when we believe in God, He will direct us on what to do, and we will do the right thing. I think I'll stop there and invite those who have questions and any addition or any input so that we can continue from there. Thank you.
So if you're willing, if you have a contribution, the mic. I'm here with the mic. Actually, we wanted to be as fast as possible and do justice to the lesson.
Okay, what's good?
All the time.
Yeah, I have comments and also questions. Okay, comment. So tithing, it's our duty to give. So it's a responsibility. So it's not optional. So I tell it's a must to be given. So we should not debate about that. Then number 2, now a question now. Okay, suppose, okay, question to employees. So you have some employees who you want to pay. So you are an employer. So, and you should be paying them around, let's say, 200,000. That's your budget. So should you take that cash, or you should just give them their money? Then, and then next, you strike a deal, like you are 3 of you, and you have been given some money. Let's say $1 million. So should you take first that cash, or you should just disband to each other them? And you know that they are not advanced, still they are not tight. So will you bring another case on the table that we should take this first 10%, then we start talking about business? Okay, yeah.
That's a good question. I think that question is to the class, to the panelists. Anybody who can respond?
Happy Sabbath. Yeah, those of us who don't work, like if we get money, like a gift from a friend or from a relative, should I tithe that, or what am I supposed to do? And sometimes that money is already tithed before I'm given.
Those are interesting questions. I think I'll take one more so that the responses can come.
Happy Sabbath. I think I'll also react to that, thanking God that He has given that opportunity to us. I believe it is not really more about the money, it's about the one that gives the money. it is more about him, because I think this day comes in relation to the 10 days of prayer ending, going back to the altar, getting to know God. In Haggai, he says, all the silver and gold are, so what are you giving him back if they all belong to him? It means it is you that he is in need of. It is about your faithfulness to him. So, well, those questions are good because everybody has a challenge and a difference in opinion and their understanding. But I think it goes deeper to, as a person, how do you value your God? He says, I am God. You should not make jokes with my name. He calls himself Lord. From the meaning, the authority of all and in all. So I think it has been stated previously that it's about your income and your increase. So just define it as simple as that. What is the income you didn't have, now you have. Now whatever you had has increased. So I think getting to that, it will be easier for us to define it from that point. Thank you.
That is wonderful. That is a very good answer to that question. I want to give this mic to anybody who wants to respond to the three we've heard already before the panelists talk about. Yes.
And you want to pay. Thinking it is with all your expenses, which is salaries to the employees, then your proceeds, you should tithe from there. That is what I'm thinking. That after you have removed all the expenses, yes, you are doing maybe business, you've earned 200,000. According to me, expense, that is not an interest. So after I've paid all my interest, what is my proceed? That is what I'll tithe. That is according to me.
Beautiful. I love the responses. I tend to like when we discuss, when we go through, because I know as we read our lessons, everybody understood his own way. But let us put it together, refine it so that it assists us as we proceed. I want to thank my brother for saying that actually what you're giving is not yours. Even what you have, even the 90% that you're left with still is not yours. Even you as an individual, you don't belong to yourself. So the fact is, there is a question of the mathematics that is what is posing a challenge, more specifically to those who do business. But I want to ask us a very simple question. We have been told for those who earn a living, those who are earning a salary, it is almost definite. You know it is 100 shillings, 10 shillings is tight. But for those of us who do business, I think we would want to,